Hello, everybody. We are today on the second day of our great conference. I want to say that our sessions sponsor is Neuronics Company, analytical rating agency, and I welcome our CEO of MindBlock Company. It's Greg Wells. Greg, your
Hi, so again, nice to see you. I'm glad to be here today. So look forward to what you want to talk about and see where we go.
Yeah, we just want to know, yes, of course, about your projects, what's your role in the blockchain industry. But for the beginning, because today we are talking, and our conversation is about projects which are being presented within our conference. We just want to know what's your project about and what's your role.
Okay, so I'm the CEO and co-founder of MindBlock, and our primary aim really is to kind of bring some trust and honesty back into the mining industry. There's a lot of scam projects that have happened over the last 12 months where investors have lost a lot of money. Companies have folded because they couldn't deliver. So our aim really is to try and turn that around, provide a service that people can rely on, that they can use, and make it a little bit more accessible for ordinary people rather than just big corporations.
Okay. For me, it's very interesting how the projects which are presenting or mining equipment or something else go to fraud or go to be scam.
Well, how they do? Well, I think a lot of them just raise the money and then they don't deliver. They don't build a mining farm. I'm pretty sure we've seen some people on yachts on Instagram, and the money just doesn't go into the project. They also don't seem to consider the idea of being able to operate in the kind of the market as it is now. So it was all great while Bitcoin was $10,000 and you could afford expensive electricity. You need to be able to survive in this market as well. So we could survive quite easily based on our models with the crypto market as it looks today. And our aim is to get up and running, but then do what we can to reduce our costs so that we can survive even lower. So we've got some ideas that would mean that we could still remain profitable even if Bitcoin dropped to $1,100 each, which is a pretty big drop from where it is today. But being sustainable and delivering is what our aim is.
Okay, just give us a bit more information, because our voters or our users wanted to, today is voting day, and we have to know about your project much more information. Just give us, if you have a presentation, will be good. If you're not, just give us describing what's going on within your project.
So at the moment, our project, we're currently about to start our STO. So we're running this as a security token rather than a utility token, which a lot of others have done. So with our model, a token is equivalent to a preference share in our holding company. So each token equates to one share, and the holding company will own 75% of the mining service. So 75% of our profits every month will be distributed between all of our token holders, and then we'll use the other 25% for growth. So 10% will be for kind of expansion, 5% we intend to buy tokens back to remove them from circulation, and the other 10% will be to cover our operational marketing, all the boring stuff that companies need to think about. And in order to keep our revenue high, we plan to mine multiple assets. So we won't just be mining Bitcoin or just Ethereum. We want to mine a whole spectrum of altcoins. We'll have some AI monitoring on the market, on liquidity, and to tell us where we should be to focusing our mining efforts. And we also want to expand that into hosting masternodes so that we can generate revenue just from transaction fees, which gives another boost to the revenue that we can then share with our token holders.
Okay, great. As I'm aware now, the market of mining is not so profitable. How do you make profit from that? I know, because mining of Bitcoin or mining of Ethereum is not profitable as 1 or 2 years ago. What's the profit for this moment?
So the market at the moment is not great. Mm-hmm. It depends where you are geographically, how much you're likely to spend on electricity. So yes, I think at the moment,
it's a good question. Where are you geographically based?
So we have been planning for Iceland because the electricity is cheap. The climate's naturally cool, so it reduces your cooling costs. It's a nice short flight from the UK, so it's easy for us to get backwards and forwards to the facility. We're also looking at Dubai and that area, because if you can build a big enough facility, you can get the electricity for like half the price of anywhere else, really. We're also looking at kind of a phase 2 of our project would be to build some solar farms in a place where electricity costs more to offset our costs. So if it all works out, we'll be paying one cost in Iceland for our electric, and we'll be generating it elsewhere for a higher value, and end up kind of running at a profit before we'd even mind anything. That's kind of a phase 2 bit of the project. We don't want to bite off more than we could chew from the outset. So we need to get the farm built, operational, prove that works, and then we'll start looking at how we can improve the efficiency and reduce the costs of operation.
Okay, but just for our audience, what's the current location of the equipment at this moment in UK?
We haven't bought any yet. So no. So we're at the start of our project. So at the moment we're going through the fundraising process. Mm-hmm. We're talking to a lot of private investors, and our sale starts on Friday. Our token sale.
Just give us a bit predictions, because this market is very sensitive to the price of all the coins, altcoins, Bitcoin, as well as Ethereum, because we need any kind of prediction which how each money goes to the investors back. Because when the money goes to the equipment, what's your opinion? Where this market goes? When if it goes very strictly down, it will be no good for the investors, and money goes, it's good to fail.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I'd
say that the price of Bitcoin at the moment is probably close to a kind of a break-even price. So our model basically says that if we use Iceland as a base, that we could go down as low as about $3,000 on the Bitcoin price before it's no longer profitable. Mm-hmm. Ethereum can go down to about $80 before it could potentially be kind of a lost leader for us. If we go to Dubai, if we can raise enough in our token sale, and we put all of our mining farms in an industrial facility in Dubai, then even at the current prices now, we'd be looking at, I think, about 74% return profit just on Bitcoin alone, and so that would give a good return to our kind of our token holders. So we anticipate that with the prices as they are now, investors would get around 5% return on their investment each month. So if you put $10,000 in, you probably get $500 a month worth of Ether back. As the market improves, that goes up drastically. So if Bitcoin gets back to closer to a $10,000 price tag, that returns closer to about 20-25% a month. So investors in theory can quickly recoup their investment over 4 or 5 months, and then it's just into profit for them. So, but who knows where the market's going to go? It's so volatile, which is why we want to have a variety of different coins that we mine. The master nodes should produce a few percent of revenue each month, and it all adds up.
Okay, perfect. Just my last question. In my understanding, when investors going to buy your tokens, your company tokens, they are starting to be owners or part of your equipment, for example, ASIC or something else. Am I right, or they are buying something else?
They're actually buying. So our structure is all detailed in our white paper. So on the last page of the white paper, there's a kind of a security token offering structure. But essentially, we will have a holding company called Mind Block Holding Limited, which will be shared out. There'll be 95% owned by token holders, and that company will own 75% of the mining service. So,
okay, where that company is registered, where is incorporated actually now?
In the UK. So they're both registered in England.
Perfect. And do you have, I don't know, any regulation A, B, A, C, or D from the United States? Because do you accept money from citizens of America?
Yeah, so we've registered, we've logged a Regulation D exemption under Rule 506C so that we can accept accredited investors. We've been looking at the Regulation A so that we can accept everybody, but it's a costly process. Our token's based on Polymath, so we're using Polymath's ST20 token model for our token. So another company that's using them as well have been trying for the last 8 or 9 months to get through the Regulation A with the US. So I'm kind of waiting for those guys to finish and get through it so that they can set the precedent of what we would need to do to get through it next. So I'm talking to them, so we know where they are in the process, and hopefully the lessons that they learn will make it a lot easier for us to go through the same route, and then we can accept anyone from the US. The SEC make it quite complicated, so we have to work by the rules and see what we can do.
Okay, perfect. Craig, I haven't any question for this moment. I wish very good luck to your company. Making happen and making big success, making to have big success on this money raising. In my opinion, you're going to launch in near 2 or 3 months. Yeah.
Hopefully, yep.
Yeah. Hopefully, yes. Now I want to thank you to all of our audience. Do want to mention that do not miss our voting process. It's listed on our website. We'll be back in a couple of minutes with new expert. Thanks, Craig Wales, for your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.